Hey, it's Roger, creator of the Azure Sandbox, and this is the final video in the series covering the Azure MySQL Flexible Server optional configuration. So we're going to do a quick code walkthrough based upon the documentation here for all the source code required for this particular configuration. So the first thing that the documentation looks at is Bootstrap. So Bootstrap's pretty straightforward. Basically, we go in and we pull in some configuration data from the other state files for the previously configured or provisioned configurations. So the first state file we grab information from is VNet shared. So we get all of these configuration items from the VNet shared state file. And then we also need to get some configuration data from the VNet app state file, specifically these two. So we get all that based upon our previous configurations that were applied. We get the name of the test database from the user. And then we basically grab our secrets from Key Vault for the admin username. We need that as well. And then we write out our TFRs file. Okay, so pretty straightforward and simple Bootstrap in comparison to some of the others that are in the sandbox. So let's see what the documentation kind of dives into next. It basically goes in and it looks at the resources required to provision the flexible server, the database, and the private endpoints. So let's have a look at those configurations. So pretty much all of that is in this MySQL Terraform file. So the first thing we do is we generate a random ID that we can use to name our MySQL Flexible Server. And then here's the resource definition for the MySQL Flexible Server. Nothing too fancy here. I basically, choose a zone and choose a SKU and then configure the admin user and admin password, and I'm good to go. And then once that is provisioned, I can create my database. So this is the resource definition for the database, pretty straightforward. And then I can create my private endpoint. So the private endpoint, again, that's newly supported by Azure MySQL Flexible Server. We're going to use the MySQL Server sub resource name to create that private endpoint. And once we do that, we'll have a private IP address in that private link subnet for connectivity to our MySQL Flexible Server. We're not done yet until we add the A record to our private DNS zone. So we have a private DNS zone, private link.mysql.database.azure.com, and we will add the A record for that private endpoint to that private DNS zone, and then DNS queries will work, which we've demonstrated work already in the smoke testing. So pretty straightforward, simple configuration. I hope you found this useful, and we'll see you in the next video.